Well, hello everybody. Welcome to our live Q&A for the month of February. I can't believe it's that time already. Man, this month flew right by. I'm still setting a few things up here, sorry. I hope the sound is alright. Let's take a look here. Alrighty, check 1, 2. Yep, we're good. Alright. So how is everybody tonight? Welcome again. This is our live Q&A. This is an opportunity for me to hang out with you guys and be able to take your questions live here on YouTube. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to post them here in the chat room, and I will get to them as soon as I can. I think they started the super chat, which is very interesting, and I'll get more into that in a minute. I think it's a great thing. Hi, Triva. Welcome back. So why don't I go ahead and start with one of the questions that y'all have already sent me. I received questions from y'all during the month, and I try to save them in a file, and I try to get to them. So if you are writing me, by the way, just so you know, if you are writing me via email or via Facebook or message or anything like that, and you are asking me a question, most of the time I will get back to you and tell you I am doing it here on YouTube live, but if in case I didn't send it to you, please know that I do save them and I do use them here during the live Q&A every month. So without further ado, I'd like to start with a very good question. And I forgot who sent this. I'm sorry, sometimes I do forget to write down your name, but I wanted to start with this because I feel this is a very important question. Person writes, how can we feel love and compassion for all of humanity? I think that's a very important question. And a lot of people ask me that in the sense of how do I have so much compassion for other people? And in order for us to, well, let me just start off why it's important. Why is it so important for us to feel love and compassion for all of humanity? We are on an awakening path, correct? We are going through the spiritual awakening. We are hoping that the idea of the awakening path and where it's leading to is going to lead to a more evolved and loving humanity. So for me, the idea of why must we have love and compassion for all of humanity is because, for me, it's a part of the end game, so to speak. It's a part of what I would like to see and what I'm projecting and intending for all of humanity, and that is to be one human family. I talk about this all the time. We are one human family. So to go back to answer the question of how can we have love and compassion for all of humanity, it is to begin the process of seeing humanity as our family. And we can start doing that very easily. You know that game, what is it, 5 degrees of separation? The reality of it is that we are all related in one way or another. Going back to the beginning of mankind, somehow, some way, we are all basically related. And with family, and like family, we can love our family and not want to be around them. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to be around angry people or hurtful people or prejudiced people or people that make you feel uncomfortable and don't make you feel welcome. That's all fine and dandy, but it is important, especially now in this era that we're in. We're in a very tumultuous era for humanity, whether it be in the United States, whether it be North America, or whether it be globally. We're going through a lot of upheaval, a lot of birthing pains. And now, more than ever, we have to see and transcend the division, see and transcend the divisiveness of the media, of politics, of race, of nationalism. Now more than ever, it is important for us to see our one human family. We don't have to like everybody. It's quite all right. But it is important to have that love and compassion for all beings. And going back to the answer, one human family. We are one human family. That is how we have love and compassion for all of humanity. Anyway, I want to say hello to a few people. Hi, Hidden Nugget. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Mia. And hi, Livier. I'm glad to see you here. I have we have one of our admins here actually joining me. I think he's playing Angry Birds or something, but um, and so let's take another question. Yes, thank you. That's so funny, Sarah. The cushions. Justin said the same thing. He goes, "Is that subliminal?" I'm like, I just love YouTube, and I want you to subscribe. Thank you. That was funny. Okay, so how can I stop being so emotional? Livier, I hope I'm saying that correctly, is asking, how can I stop being so emotional? I tend to feel my loved ones' emotions. Okay. Wow. Great question. My question is, why would we want to stop feeling so emotional? For me, the awakening process is about that empathy. It is about, well, being an empath, we are going to feel other people's emotions. Sometimes we will identify with them and think that they are our own. We must know that they're not. There are practices that you can do. If you'd like, I definitely suggest going back in my library, my video library. There is a video called How to Create a Psychic Shield. And that's not to block people out, but it's to protect us from identifying with other people's emotions and thinking that they're ours. So it's very helpful. Um, Being emotional is a part of the awakening process as far as I'm concerned. I believe that do become hypersensitive. I believe it's a part of the transition into what I hope is a greater waking consciousness of our whole being. But with that, yeah, it's difficult. It really makes life unbearable sometimes. But we have to realize, this is the most important thing, is that when we can see from the place of our higher self, our intuitive self, we begin to have the ability to look at the goings on within our mind, the thoughts, the emotions, and all of those things become, well, I don't want to say we're disconnected from them, but we can be the observer and still participate in life and still enjoy love and still enjoy happiness and still get angry and whatnot, but we can realize that we don't need to identify with those emotions. One of the most important things that we do need to understand is that when we are feeling overly emotional, when we are feeling overly angry, depressed, or even happy, it's not permanent. Nothing is permanent. Those waves of emotion, those waves of anger, those waves of depression or well, love and happiness for that matter, nothing is permanent. So remember, when you are feeling overly emotional, that it will pass. It does pass. But I definitely would recommend reading or looking into that video, the How to Create a Psychic Shield. It's very helpful. And to know that it's okay. Oh, good, you did watch it. That's great. Well, keep trying it. And if anything, I would like to say, try practicing the stance of the observer and understanding that it's not permanent. Nothing is permanent. These emotions and these waves are not permanent. I'm just going to look here on the chat again, see if we have anybody else. If you have any questions, please, by all means, do post them. Oh, Sarah, that's a great comment. It's so hard to love and forgive someone who has done unthinkable things to me. I don't know what those unthinkable things are. We all have our own thermometer of how something could be unthinkable. It could be something from disrespecting and saying something horrible to literally doing something abusive and completely horrible. Um, it's true. Sometimes there are things that are unforgivable. However, while we can choose not to forgive the person, while we can choose to not allow them within our life or to be within our environment, I will say this is that when we are stuck in the anger, when we're stuck in the I don't forgive that person, we're still giving energy to the situation. Um, oh, okay. Abuse. I see that. Thank you. It takes a big person, and it takes a lot of work to be able to. I don't want to say forgive, okay, but perhaps we can be more objective. Perhaps we can allow the past to be the past, to be grateful that we are no longer in that situation and that these people are no longer a part of our lives. Hopefully, they're no longer a part of our lives. Um, I believe we have the right to be angry, by all means. Just let's not stay in the anger. When we stay in anger, we become a victim. Then that whole victim mindset comes into place. And we are more than that. We are more than that one moment. We are more than that one experience. If we've been abused, if we've been treated wrong, if we've had horrible people in our lives that have done horrible things to us, if we've done horrible things, we are not that experience. We can't allow that to. It can't be the motivator of who we are and how we present ourselves to the world. And quite honestly, we can't allow that to be the foundation of how our mind works. Pushing the person out of our life. Hopefully, if it's something illegal, they get justice. If not, always know the universe does reciprocate. Karma, the wheel of fortune, does happen. However, let's all remember that we are humans. We're going through experiences, and sometimes we just have to let other people go and not be a part of our lives anymore. Or our focus, for that matter. Hi, Carol. Hi, Michelle. Oh, I like that. Carol writes a really good question, and actually, I just did a class on this last week. We talked about this last week, Justin. Toning. When is toning better than using a mantra? What is toning? First of all, so let me explain to everybody what my definition of toning is. For me, toning is, well, I take that back. I take that back. Toning is a spontaneous use of voice. For me, toning is identifying with my intuition, my higher self, and allowing that to vocalize. For example, a mantra is something that is pre-written or was handed to you by a teacher or a guru or somebody, and they want you to use that mantra for a specific purpose. Om Mani Padme Hum. The mantra of compassion. We're trying to raise the energy to vibrate equally with the level of universal compassion. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. That would bring us to that level of vibration if we're talking energetics. So that, to me, is what mantras are for. Mantras have specific definition. They have specific energetic vibrations and release or bring in specific ripples of energy. Toning, toning is intuitive. Toning is freestyle mantra. Um, I think that, well, I can't do it here because we need about 4 other people to do this, but, or actually you can do it alone. Uh, Toning is just making noise from the heart. Whatever. I'm just being silly, but I'm trying to give you an example. Ah, ee, oh, ah, oh, ah. And it's just expressing. It's expressing from the heart. It's expressing intuitively. Now, what happens is if when you're with other people, the resonances begin to meld together. It begins to create a tone and a frequency of its own. A great example are like, the binaural beats. You'll hear one sound on one ear, one sound on the other ear, and in your mind creates that one frequency from the two different sounds. The same thing with toning within a group. You've got 3 or 4 people, or even 2 people, just making noise, allowing the sound to come from their heart, and eventually that creates a certain frequency. So, why is toning better? I can't say that it is. I do believe it has another purpose. To me, it's about group consciousness and perhaps spontaneous and/or intuitive release of energy. I personally feel that toning is more powerful in a group setting versus a mantra, but then again, mantras have a specific energetic quality to them that is intended prior to the sound coming out versus the intention is more spontaneous when you're doing toning. So I don't know if that makes sense. So I hope that helps a little bit. We're getting lots of questions. It's great. So Michelle is asking, hi Michelle, welcome. Can our animals respond to our awakening, like not eating or other mood changes? That's a really good observation, actually. Um, I personally feel it's even more than just awakening. They respond to everything around us. I think it's very fair to say that our animals are much more intuitive and in touch with source, and they do respond. There was times in my life, 10, 15 years ago, where I went through very difficult times, and I could see my cat not eating as much or not being as friendly. They are a great mirror of what's going on with you. Some, has anybody ever seen? I don't even know if it's still out there anymore. That cat guy who does the guy with the shaved head, the hipster dude. I forgot what he's called, the cat whisperer or something like that. But he always talks about how, well, you see it on the program, that if it's a noisy, abusive, screaming, high stress home, the animal is going to be high stress and abusive. So I do believe that our animals are a reflection of who we are and what vibration we're releasing. So can they respond to our awakening? I highly believe so. I believe that they're going to respond to anything. And if we're awakening, if we're having paranormal or super consciousness experiences and releasing that energy, they're going to pick up on it. Absolutely. For me, a great example is when I'm doing anything, for that matter. If I'm doing a ritual or doing some type of ceremony, my cat wants to be in the middle of it. She's got to see what's going on, and has to like sit there, and we'll watch and just watch. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, they're totally aware of what's going on. Darn, time's flying right by. Jeez. So let's see, what else do we have here? Why? Hidden Nugget is asking, why are the thoughts and feelings from inside and out seems feel heavier or darker? We're supposed to be lightened up here. I'm not quite sure what that means. I will try to respond from what I'm thinking it means. Why our thoughts and feelings from inside and out feel heavier or darker? If I'm understanding this, I'm thinking that things are darker or heavier inside, or are they darker and heavier outside? Maybe, actually, why don't you go ahead and maybe clarify that a little bit? Um, I can't really grasp the question, but thank you. Mia is writing, isn't it also that someone who hurts, abandons you only does these things because they don't know how to love themselves and then get hurt because you don't know how to love yourself as well? Yes, I agree. I believe that when any of us do anything to each other, it's all a reflection of who we are. It's all a reflection of what's going on inside. It's all a reflection of how we can perhaps learn from each other and to acknowledge that. And what I'm understanding here is the second half of that question is kind of leading into we created the experience for ourselves because we needed to learn something. We didn't love ourselves enough. That's a little iffy. I do believe in the law of attraction. I do believe in the law of intention. And I do believe in karma. Do we set things up in order for us to have specific lessons, to be able to better reflect what's going on in the inside? I definitely believe in that. I also believe there are just happenstance situations that we didn't ask for. Um, do we leave ourselves vulnerable to certain situations? Maybe. I mean, animals kind of sense fear. Animals kind of sense weaker, that kind of thing. So maybe on subconscious level, we might be emitting a sense or vibration of weakness or some type of fear, making us more susceptible to predator types. But I think that's something that we need to reflect on individually. I don't believe, and actually, in all these things that we talk about, I don't believe they're all just blanket umbrella terms for every single person. I believe everything is individual, but hopefully we can kind of figure out what works for us and what doesn't work for us through these types of discussions and introspection and reflection on this, what I call the great work of the awakening of humanity. Oh, you're welcome, Michelle. We sure do, Haley. I love it. I love it. Anna Maria just posted something. Anna Maria, I believe you sent me something on Facebook, and was going to get to that today if that's you, about dreams. Um, so I'm glad you posted that now. Sometimes I dream from the perspective that I am in body. Sometimes I dream that I am watching myself from a few feet away. What is the significance between these two perspectives? My goodness, that could go into a whole half hour on astral projection. I immediate feel the sense that it's an out of body experience. Um, I would have to hear more detail as to what you're feeling at the time. But what you're describing right there, the idea that you are watching yourself from a few feet away, that is a basic step that we use to do astral projection. We go into meditation and we visualize ourselves looking at our bodies, laying down in bed, watching ourselves. I don't know if you're seeing yourself in bed or if you're just seeing yourself in a dream and looking at yourself as a separate person in a dream. But if you are looking at yourself in bed, it's a very good chance, or looking at yourself sleeping, it's a very good chance that you're doing an out of body experience and or doing some type of astral projection. I don't know if our friend is here. James runs the astral projection group on Facebook. He might be on here tonight. I'm not sure, but there is an astral projection group on Facebook that you might want to check out. Oh, a separate person while in a dream. Oh, I would still check out the astral projection group. um, separate person while in a dream. Let me think about that. I'll have to think about that. See if my guides get me anything. Maybe I can get back to that. Guys, it's 6:30 already, so I'm gonna take a 2 minute break. Not even a 1 minute break. Just go freshen up, stretch my leg for a second, and I'll be back in just a moment. I actually want to turn the thermostat down a little bit too. It's getting warm out here. I can't believe it. Anyway, I'll be right back, guys. Thanks for that, guys. Excuse me. All right, so the second half of our Q&A. Let's see what we have while I was gone. Very true. Inception, I like that. Or higher self, perhaps. Oh, Triva, you really point out something very interesting and or important on the feeling of the presence of spirit entity. Oh boy, that's a big question and a very important one. How do we know when a presence, a whether it be an ET or transdimensional or otherworldly or ghost or a guide, many times we have these presences come into our life, and for me, in order to tell if this being is malevolent or benevolent, meaning bad or good, helpful or hurtful, I need to listen to my body. And what I mean by this is my central nervous system, and I talk about this quite a bit. I believe in learning to listen to my body as a tool. When my body tenses up, when my chest becomes tight or closes up, that means close off. When my body is expansive, excited, or happy or joyful, then it means open up. Now, how do we apply that to an entity standing at the foot of our bed in the middle of the night? You're going to feel shock. Of course, you're going to feel shock, but give it a second. Don't immediately react, and I think that's the key here. If we react, most likely we're going to react to, oh my God, what is this thing in my room? What's going on? But if you give it 10 seconds, count to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then ask it. Are you malevolent? Are you benevolent? Are you here to help me? What do you want? And you talk to them. Don't be afraid. I know we're trained to be afraid of these things, but ask it, what do you want? It has to answer you. It has to. In one form or another, whether the way it looks, the way it moves, what it does, and what it says. It must answer you. It's one of these universal laws of energy. What does it want? And again, listen to your heart. Listen to what your body is telling you. Personally, I don't appreciate something spontaneously showing up. I didn't ask for it. You're not, quite honestly, they're not welcome unless I want them to be there. So, personally, I don't like spontaneous visitations. If anything, I would tell it to leave and then go back and try to understand what happened, what it is, maybe through some type of reading or some type of meditation. But that's a very tricky question because we have to remember there might be the chance that this is something very helpful, very useful. And if we're always reacting from fear, we might miss out on something that could be very beneficial to us. So, yeah, immediately I'd probably say, go away, let me figure this out, or make your intentions clear so I know what it is that you're doing here. But I don't want to say go across the board and say everything must leave and get out of here and nobody's welcome. It's it's very gray for lack of a better term. For lack of a better term. Um, I think we have someone in the audience that has a question.
Oh yeah, yeah.
What was your question?
Well, I was just thinking the knowledge that has stepped down through like these organizations
Okay.
like Wicca. And I was kind of wondering like,
Okay, so the question is how long. Uh, esoteric Western mysteries, Freemasonry, Wicca, whatever. How long does this information go back? It's been passed down, passed down, passed down. Um, I'm going to look at the camera. Forgive me if I'm not staring at you while I answer this. But the answer for me is it's very questionable. There's been a lot of argument and debate over how long has Western mysticism last, where did it come from? A lot of these organizations, a lot of these secret brotherhoods and whatnot, like to claim that they've been around since the Egyptian times. When it comes to Wicca, that's fairly easy to find out. Modern Wicca, or the religion of Wicca, started with Gerald Gardner, and that was in the 50s, 40s, and whatnot. So there is some type of lineage there that you can go back. And now he says he got information from another group, which is still questionable if they existed, the forest something, green forest witches or something like that. Western and or esoteric mystery schools have existed, and they've existed for over millennia, and perhaps some of the information has passed down. We do know that things like the Key of Solomon, for those of you that know anything about um, grimoires and whatnot, that supposedly was written by King Solomon. Is there actual proof? I really have not seen if there is any physical proof that it was written by him. But it's fair to say that, perhaps Egypt, or Kemet would be a better term to use. The ancient Kemetic people, uh, I don't want to say standardized, but perhaps formalize mystery school teachings. And of course, we have the ancient Greeks and whatnot. I'd like to think that much of it came from the metrofocal egregarian cultures, magical cultures, before the patriarchal cultures took over. So maybe some of that early ancient knowledge made it through. But as far as any of these modern organizations, it's very questionable, and even modern druidry, which is a great example, ended up, it's only literally like 150 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, be careful when people say something is ancient. What I believe and what I feel for me when it comes to this kind of stuff is that the best knowledge you can get is from your higher self. And I know I keep going back to that, but it's only because that's what I've experienced. I've realized and I've experienced that my guides, my higher self, my intuition, my spiritual channel of energy or information is more trustworthy than reading a book that was supposedly from a group or organization that's been around for 3 or 4 thousand years, because you can't tell that. I believe it's about experience. I believe that no matter your practice, whether it is Wicca or Buddhism or New Age metaphysical practices, it's our intuition that best guides us, and it's our experience that is the real knowledge, the wisdom. Actually, I read that chapter today on the Book of One when we were doing the broadcast earlier today. But yeah, so I hope that kind of makes a little sense. Okay. So Buddy has a a thorough question. Let me see. Um, all right, so Buddy is asking about a former girlfriend um, who he is stating might be bipolar, is bipolar, has medical issues, depression. Um, okay, what I'm thinking here, the question is to go forward or to go backward. Um, never backward is my immediate answer. What I would have to say, anyone in this situation, and in my 20s, it's fair to say I went through similar, for lack of a better term, dramatic relationships, youthful drama. And if you were to decide to develop or pursue any type of relationship with this person, you've got the gist of who she is. You've got the gist of what she's gone through in the past, so you understand her darkness, and hopefully you understand her light as well. I'm not one to think that going backward is an option, but I will say this: if you were to go forward, go forward. I mean, if you were to go and bring her back into your orbit, do it going forward. Have her go forward with you. I don't know if that makes any sense. Uh, a more evolved, a more communicative, a more honest, a more genuine way of being around each other. I'm not one of these people that believe, oh, you should never get back with an ex. We've all done it. But the reality of it is that is it going to be better? And are you going to settle for the same nonsense as before, or are you going to move forward with your life? Because it's important for us to realize that, yeah, it's great to have a partner. It's great to have a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a husband, a wife, whatever. But if it's stifling your spiritual growth, and that's what you really need to ask yourself here, is this someone that will enhance my growth, someone who will enhance my awakening, who will empower me, or am I just a caretaker? Am I just putting out fires for them? I have someone very close to me in my life who is an alcoholic, and they'll relapse once or twice a year, but that's it. It's once or twice a year. However, the rest of the time we have a very wonderful, uplifting, supportive, loving friendship. But again, you have to see what works for you. Is this something that you even want to consider bringing into your future? It's a matter of what it sounds like, a matter of the past versus the future. And is there a future, and should you even consider moving forward with this person? But I think that's the key here, is for you to continue moving forward, and to hopefully, if this person comes back into your orbit, they can move forward with you. But I understand that, we all have, people have issues. We all do. I don't think anybody on this planet doesn't have an issue, quite honestly. However, can we be helpful to each other? I love it. Thank you, Triva. I love the fact that someone named Internet Troll came on, and I missed the messages. Thank you, Triva. Message deleted by Triva. Internet Troll. Well, at least they're honest about it. That's so funny. I hope that makes sense, buddy. I hope that makes sense, and I wish you luck. All the best. Okay, so Sarah is saying something. During an old house spirit clearing, the spirit got angry. I literally had to tell them they would have so much waiting on the other side. I knew it was their house and told them it was love. Very good. Well, we're getting a lot of people and comments on here. Oh, by the way, so I have to share this new super chat with you. When I don't know if you guys have seen this yet, but if the chat gets a little crazy, and I know this is like so, I don't know what you want to call it, cheap or whatever, but if you are really wanting to get my attention, you can do that whole super chat thing. I think you make a donation and it puts your comment or your question right at the very top. So it's a great way to get my attention and a great way to support this work. So I do appreciate it. And I believe there's a way also to become a patron or what do they call it, a sponsor or something like that. So I do appreciate it. If you are interested in doing that, please do. It does support the work. the radio show, the website, the Facebook pages, and all of these wonderful Q&As that we do. So I think YouTube did a pretty good job with that. So I'm glad they did that. All right, let's see. We have a lot of, yeah, exactly. How original, Triva. So I have a question here that was received several weeks ago. And I think this is a really big question, but I can only share with you what my experience is. I had a woman write, how do we experience, excuse me, how do we experience the oneness with the quotations? I love that. How do we experience the oneness? What is the oneness? First of all, so let's define what the oneness is. I've experienced quote unquote the oneness maybe twice in my lifetime. Once during a shamanic vision quest, and once spontaneously during a meditation. And so to define the oneness is to say that it's that place within our consciousness where, I don't want to sound cliche, but I'm going to, where we are one with everything. And I know we say that a lot, and a lot of us talk about, being one with everything. But to really experience that, to really understand that we are one consciousness, that we are one, well, the way I was told is we are one soul, we are one source, we are one. So if we are one consciousness, one soul, and we are existing in separate bodies, separate experiences, separate times, separate ages, where does this oneness happen? How does the oneness happen? Oneness to me means transcending polarity. Oneness to me means transcending any division between me and it. Me feeling, literally feeling and experiencing this computer screen in front of me, the camera that's in front of me, sensing and becoming a part of that. So how do we experience oneness? Practically speaking, it's done through practice, done through yoga, done through meditation. And I can go down the list, but everyone knows this answer. The Shamanic Vision Quest. But to me, oneness is being able to get into that place within our mind where there is no ego, there is no body, no physical form, there is no time. We are not in this time. There is no place. We are not in this place. It is oneness is no place because it's everywhere. And I know I'm getting a little esoteric and metaphysical here, but that's what it is for me. It is, okay, I'll share an example with you. I had a student back in the 90s, I believe, that we were doing the same thing. And we were working on the same thing. And I did a guided meditation. And the guided meditation I used was similar to what we call the Kabbalistic cross. It was actually before I even knew the Kabbalistic cross. Maybe it was an intuitive version of it. But it was one where we were meditating, going beyond the earth, going beyond the stars, going beyond the universe, into the nothing, into the void. And going into that void gave her the experience of oneness. And she was just so grateful afterwards. She was like, I felt the oneness. I felt the everything. We use the word source a lot now, thanks to, I guess it was the Secret or whatnot, or Abraham Hicks and whatnot. But the source, feeling and experiencing the oneness, is not only channeling source or feeling source, it's being source. When you are at the source, when you are at the beginning of life, of thought, of consciousness, you have that oneness. There's no separation. I don't know if that helped, if that makes any sense. Ah, that's a great one, Mia. Do do I know the difference between starseed, crystal, and rainbow children? I've heard that starseeds are Pleiadians. Actually, I did a video on this. I think it's starseeds, crystals, and lightworkers, or something like that. My take on it is it's kind of splitting hairs. Um, Lightworkers are can be starseeds. Lightworkers can be crystal or rainbow children. Um, and yes, many starseeds might be Pleiadian. So let's start with that. Starseeds. That's a great one. Yes, Triva, my McAdoo's glass. Do you remember McAdoo's? Triva called me out. Let's start with starseeds. Starseeds, by definition, are are those of us who have incarnated on this planet at this time who come from a different galaxy, star system, or whatnot. An Arcturian can be a starseed. A Pleiadian can be a starseed. Um, it doesn't matter the star system. Anyone that comes from a star system can be a starseed. Now, what we have to ask ourselves, though, is if I've had a lifetime, which my guides tell me I have had lifetimes in the Arcturian system, does that mean I'm Arcturian? Or does that mean that I've had a lifetime there? You understand what I'm saying? We could have a lifetime on Earth. We can have a lifetime in Arcturia. We can have a lifetime in Sirius. We can have a lifetime in Pleiadians. Isn't it fair to say that we're all starseeds in one way or another? I feel that the popularness of this terminology now is because we're starting to realize that. We've realized that we've had lives on other star systems. I don't know if it's necessarily unique, though. Is it unique? Could it be that everyone who's incarnated on Earth has literally incarnated in another planet, another star system, and chose to incarnate on Earth at this time? We don't know. But anyway, so that is what a starseed is. Crystal children is a term. For me, it just means a young light worker. Crystal children were supposedly born from like 85 to 2000 or so. The millennials of light workers. They're the younger generation of the light worker. And basically what a crystal is, though, the reality of it is crystal is very similar to indigo. That's what it was. Indigo, starseed, and light workers. Indigo was considered 1950 to 1980, so to speak. I'm considered indigo. Triva's considered indigo. So these terms to me are more generational. Rainbow, however, I believe that the rainbow children is a much broader term. It's more of an umbrella term coming and stemming from the Hopi prophecy that when Earth was at its worst, the rainbow children will incarnate upon the planet to save it. So for me, a rainbow could be a light worker, an indigo, a starseed, all of the above. All of the above. So are we all rainbow children? Yeah. Are we all light workers? Yes. Starseeds remember their past lifetimes on other planets, other star systems. Crystals are millennial light workers, and indigos are baby boomer Generation X. um, it's a generational term more for me. For me, I mean, by all means, I suggest everybody do your own research. I can only share with you what I've experienced and what I know from doing what I've been doing for too long sometimes. Iman, my goodness, it's so good to see you. Hi. Wow. Hello, stranger. One love, one love. All right, I have to call her out. Iman used to be a member of the GIC like 10 years ago. And she's in Egypt. Are you still in Egypt? Anyway, I hope everything is going well. It's so good to see your face. Thank you. Thank you. Um, the RH negative, I have to say that I don't know much about that, quite honestly. I know that that has been thrown around a lot. Um, so I really can't say that I know anything about that, to be honest with you. Thanks, Joel. I think I need to get a hair color or something. I don't know. Guys, we're running out of time. Can you believe this already? Darn. I'm going to hang around for another 5 minutes. I hope my company doesn't mind. I'm so happy to see Iman and Triva in one place and all these fantastic questions. Fantastic. Thank you. Well, if you, I'm gonna hang out for about. I'm out of time, but if you have a question, please throw it in there ASAP, and I will hopefully answer one more question if anybody has any. I do have one here, which is very interesting, but I'd like to leave it up to you guys if I answer your question or uh, the one that was sent to me. And I'm glad that helped me, by the way. And yeah, check it out. I did a pretty thorough explanation of that. There's like a 1 minute delay here, so I can't tell if you're responding or not. Maybe it's a 2 minute delay. I don't know. I'll just wait here for a second. If you have one more question, please just share it. Okay. I think I recognized my hands folding, so that was like 2 minutes ago. This is a really good question, and I think it's a great place to leave us this evening. Somebody writes, how can our actions be guided by our moral compass? That's a heavy question. How can our actions be guided by our moral compass? First of all, I'd be concerned about what you mean by moral compass. Is it an extremist? Is it a fascist? What's the moral compass you're talking about? So I would like to deduce that this person is a light worker and they're saying, how can I act in accordance to what I feel is right? And the first thing that comes to mind is that whole cognitive dissonance thing. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. Do we know what cognitive dissonance is? If we're going to live authentically and genuinely and by our own moral compass, we must get rid of cognitive dissonance. What is cognitive dissonance? I'll give you a great example. Let's say you're in a progressive, um, dogmatic religious institution. I don't know what are some of the progressive ones? Episcopalians, a couple other ones. Let's say that you're going to church on Sunday, and your organization is progressive. They're cool. You know, they don't give you all the hell and brimstone, but they're still promoting that divorce is evil, that gays are evil, that sex out of marriage is evil. Okay. In your day-to-day life, you're friends with gay people. You might be gay. You're having sex out of marriage. You don't think divorce is a sin and you're going to go to hell over it. but you're continuing to support a structure or an organization or whatever we want to call it, an illusion of something that is not real to what we feel. If we are doing something, if we are supporting something, whether it be something our family does, whether it be something we do, whether it be something our religion does, our politics is another great example. You might agree with the Democrats on one thing and the Republicans on another thing, but you're sticking with the Democrats because they're most likely, or you're sticking with the Republicans but they're most like you. But they're not emulating what you know is within your own moral compass. That is cognitive dissonance. When we are allowing ourselves to perpetuate something that is inherently against what is a part of our spirit, what our intuition is telling us, when we are participating, perpetuating, supporting, aligning with organizations, religions, people, political parties, families, and friends that are not in alignment with our truth, we are perpetuating cognitive dissonance, and we are not living in accordance to our own higher moral compass. So it comes to the point where we must be honest with ourselves. We must have integrity. What is integrity? Integrity is following through on what you say, following through on what you believe. In order to live within our higher moral compass, we must have integrity. Do not continue the false support, the false alignment with that which you don't believe in. That is how humanity evolves. When we are receiving that message from our heart, when we are connected with that message from our higher self, and we know what is right for us, that we know we want to love, we want to have compassion, we want to support and hold others higher than what organizations or politics might be doing, that's how we grow. So to answer the question, how do we live by our moral compass? Get rid of cognitive dissonance. Live in integrity and just be authentic. Be authentic with everyone. It takes courage, I know. It takes courage. You have that courage. You have that support. There are hundreds, if not millions, of awakened people on the planet right now. Millions. We're everywhere. You have our support. Anyway, I wish you all the best, everyone. Again, as usual, let me just see what's going on here. Okay, did I miss anything? Okay. Yeah, I know. Sarah, I saw that. I get accused of stupid things too. People are just angry. I remember when people accuse you of something, it's usually something that they're doing, so don't take it personally. Anyway, I love you, everyone. I'm going to get going, and I love this time that we get to spend together. So thank you so much for that. Please take a look at my Patreon page. I want you all to join me on Patreon. Even if you don't do a donation, join me on Patreon, patreon.com/Bernard Alvarez. I'm going to be there like every day from now on. I'll be posting personal things. I'll be posting more personal pictures. I want to be more interactive, but I need support. So I'm going to be doing it on Patreon. So again, come join me on patreon.com/Bernard Alvarez. I'm not sure what the show is next week, so I'll let you all know. And as usual, you can always find me and my wonderful team, Treva, Justin, and whoever else is a part of the team that day at facebook.com/ I think it's Bernard Alex Alvarez. Yes, that's my middle name, Alex. I love you guys. Oh, it won't let you? That's stupid. All right. Thank you, Treva. And thank you, everyone. I love you. Good night. Bye-bye.